Beacon is getting brighter. This is KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico, 90.9 FM. And now 103.3 FM, translator K277CR, Durango, Colorado.
Mostly cloudy skies, a slight chance of a snow shower on this Thursday. The winds are still with us. We could see gusts up to 40 miles per hour this afternoon. Today's high, 37 in Farmington. Partly cloudy overnight with a low near 19. Partly sunny skies on Friday.
KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The most important ingredients to sustaining health and wellness are the resources and tools that help you live a vibrant and healthy life. At San Juan Regional Medical Center, the goal is to promote health by making sure those resources are available. Find the path to the best life at lifebetterhere.com. San Juan Regional Medical Center. Better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care.
14 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Thursday morning, the 23rd day of February 2023. Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Michlin, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air, of course, here in San Juan County, New Mexico, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and streaming everywhere else from our website, of course, KSJE.com. Welcome also to our viewers, because this is, as you know, a community-supported visual radio station. The video of this program is streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and even our Twitter account. So we're glad that you are with us, however you made your way to us this morning. Coming up in the next few moments, we want to pass along some of the weather impacts today. There is a 2-hour delay here at San Juan College, Farmington schools, the Central Consolidated Schools in Shiprock, Newcomb, and Neschitty, and also the DZ School south of Bloomfield. Virtual classes only today for the Aztec School District and the Dulce School District as well. And you can get the updated list, of course, anytime from our website at ksje.com/school-closures. Coming up in the next few moments, my conversation with Julie Smith. She is here from the San Juan County Partnership. We're going to be talking about a recent study about teens in the area. We'll talk more about that in the next few moments right here on KSJE this morning. Then later on this hour, I hope you'll stay tuned, because we'll be checking in with some students from Piedra Vista High School talking about their upcoming theater production, which involves, if I'm looking at that graphic correctly, pirates and an octopus. So join us for more coming up 8:50 a.m. today on KSJE. Mick Hess will be here next hour, roving with the arts. Mick is featuring music from Saint-Saëns this morning, so join him for that coming up later on at 9:06 on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, you can also connect with us on our Instagram page in addition to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, you can subscribe for free and listen to KSJE podcasts wherever you're already listening to podcasts, places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts. So check it out and maybe discover a program that you may have missed recently here on the radio station. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, we have reports of spitting snow out in the area this morning. Still a chance of a scattered snow shower today in the forecast with mostly cloudy conditions. Windy conditions, though, too. We could see gusts not maybe as strong as yesterday, but still about 40 miles per hour this afternoon. And today's high reaching 37 degrees in Farmington. Partly cloudy tonight with a low near 31. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 42 on Friday. Warmer on Saturday with a high reaching 55 degrees with partly sunny skies. And then take a look at Sunday. The next chance for a snow shower on Sunday, a 50% chance with a high of 44 on Sunday, and 24 Sunday night, then sunshine and 46 on Monday, and maybe some more precipitation moving into the area by the middle of next week. Well, let me introduce my guest who is here with me this morning, as I mentioned, from the San Juan County Partnership. Julie Smith is here. Good morning, and welcome back to KSJE.
Good morning, Scott.
Good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Thank you very much for coming in to kind of share some really interesting data with us about this survey that I know the San Juan County Partnership works with each and every year, right? It's a cooperative effort with the partnership and the state?
Actually, this particular survey is done every other year
Okay.
in the fall of odd-numbered years, and it's actually throughout New Mexico. It's called the Youth Risk and Resiliency Survey, and it's administered through, let me just look at my cheat sheet here.
That's okay.
New Mexico Department of Health and Public Education Department, and it's done in the high schools and middle schools across the state in the fall of, like I said, the odd-numbered years.
Right.
And it is New
And
Mexico's version.
you sent me that. If I'd read that before I asked you the question, I would have gotten that right. So my apologies, but thank you for setting it straight.
No worries. And it is New Mexico's version of the CDC's YRBS, which is the Youth Risk Behavior Survey that's done across the country. So this is New Mexico's version. And what's exciting about the data that they just released this, and this is the 2021 for high school. We haven't seen the middle school yet,
Okay.
but the high school data is out, and it's really exciting to see that we have had a drop in substance use.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look.
And here we go. And you can see it pretty dramatically on this
Pretty
on this
dramatically.
graph. For folks who aren't watching on the video, it's dramatic.
It's dramatic.
You should be watching. But yeah,
It's a significant drop.
Right.
We're a little hesitant to be super excited about it because we are looking at it from the viewpoint of this was right at the tail end of COVID closures, and school
Right.
attendance still was not quite what it usually is and what it is now. So
you'll see if these trends continue, I guess, right?
Yes,
To be
the
able to.
exciting thing is to see if these trends continue.
Okay.
The survey will be done again in 2023 in the fall, and the data then will be released hopefully a little sooner than this was. This took a while. This is a long period of time for us to wait for this kind of data.
Right.
Almost a year and a half.
Yeah, right. Let me
Yes.
ask you a bit about the things that this is asking and what these lines represent, because there's all different types of substances, right? That you're asking about in the survey, right? Of these students.
Correct. So this survey is a pretty long survey. It asks about usage. It also asks about other things, resiliency factors and stuff, which is a really great thing for us in prevention to be looking at. But this particular graphic that you're seeing is talking about past 30-day substance use. So this is not any time, but specifically if the youth has used a substance in the last 30 days. And the different substances that we ask about are e-cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, prescription pain medication misuse. And it used to be phrased a little differently, so you might be seeing a break in that line, because it used to be phrased pain medication to get high.
Oh, right.
And they've reworded that question so that there's a break in the data there, because it's not exactly the same question, so we can't connect those lines.
Right.
But it's
You can still kind of see where the lines might go.
yes,
if you
you
did
can make
connect the
that
lines,
correlation.
which are kind of the yellow-colored line on the graph, what I'd say, rather
Yes.
than the gold-colored line, yellow-colored.
And then meth,
Okay.
methamphetamines. So
Each
We-
one showing a downward trend, or at least a
Every-
downward point.
yes, every single one has shown a significant drop in usage for past 30-day substance use.
And again, pardon me, I keep interrupting you, but I just want to point out that from 2019 to 2021, that's where we're seeing this decrease from
Yes.
these survey respondents.
Yes. So us in prevention, we would like to think that it's because of our tremendous efforts to get the information out to our youth that these substances are harmful for you and don't allow you to be your best self. We are realistic, though, and we know that this self-reported data possibly could mean that the drop could mean that there were fewer at-risk students in attendance when the survey was conducted because of the oddness of the COVID
Right.
closures, etc. But really, we're optimistic.
Sure. Well, I would hope so, and I would like to be optimistic too, right? And
I
so,
would.
and so, as you mentioned, this is given to students throughout New Mexico, and these are what age range? These are the high school students.
This specific data is from the high school, and this is San Juan County. The great
Right.
thing about this survey is that they give you the data for all of New Mexico. but then you can also break it down by specific county. So we're seeing our kiddos here,
Right.
and that's the great news about it. San Juan County does tend to be a little lower than most of the state in many of these categories, but to see this significant of a drop is very encouraging.
Well, it's encouraging to hear that we're lower than most other places too. I think that's
Yes.
significant.
It is significant
as well, because I know, and the partnership has done a great job of reminding us how many kids don't do things with your campaign about, the majority are not making the wrong choice when it comes to alcohol or drugs or things like that line. And so I think that's maybe just backs that up.
This absolutely backs it up. If you're looking at the graph right now, you can see all of those percentages are below the 50% mark.
Right.
I mean, the top of our graph is at 50%. We don't even go up to 100% because it would make our lines really small and hard to read. So that is the encouraging thing. Even if the data wasn't showing a downward trend, it is so encouraging to see that not even 25% for most of the data points of our students are using substances. So that's
Right.
That's an amazing.
That's a great thing.
Yes.
And so this survey, as you mentioned, this is just one snapshot, I guess, of the data, but this is a fairly extensive survey. And so is there other data that you're pouring through or looking at that also would tell you some other things that you can use in your prevention efforts?
We do look at other data. We receive data from schools specifically. We generally don't report out on that data, though, because that's for our internal use and use with those school districts specifically, unless they've given us permission to release that data. So right now, we're just looking at that internally and looking at how we can use that data to inform our prevention efforts within each school district.
But I bet the schools find it very helpful and useful for their work as well, do they not?
Absolutely, they do. It helps them to look at how they can adjust how they're reacting to instances of substance use, substance misuse on their campuses so that they can maybe make different choices for their disciplinary policies, for and their prevention efforts in general.
Right. And maybe also whether or how much time to offer the San Juan County Partnership perhaps to come in with a program or a presentation to their student body.
Yes. So I see where you're going with this,
Okay.
Scott.
Do you? Because I don't, but I'm glad that you do, because it's too early.
That leads right into my next talking point today, which is a new partnership with Farmington Municipal Schools. We've been doing presentations with 3rd through 8th grade, and we'll be doing more coming up, and those presentations are around vaping and tobacco dangers. So we've seen a slight uptick in e-cigarette vaping usage in our lower grades. The Farmington Municipal School District has. So they brought me in. I put together a vaping and tobacco presentation, presented it to all of the nurses for the Farmington School District and the district behavior coordinator, and they liked what they saw. So I've been doing presentations 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Some of the nurses have chosen to do the presentation themselves, and those have been done with 8th graders. And then I have 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade presentations already scheduled coming up. So those presentations have been done in Tibbetts Junior High, Mesa Verde Elementary, Ladera Elementary, McKinley Elementary, Apache Elementary, and future presentations are going to be in Esperanza Elementary, Farmington Preschool Academy East staff. The staff wanted to know more about this so that they know what to look for. And then Heights Junior High. So far we've had 827 students be presented this presentation and about 75 staff members.
Wow.
And we hope to reach all of the school district for these grade levels before the end of the school year.
Very good. I was a little shocked when you said we're starting at 3rd grade, though, but that is how young maybe you're seeing some of this activity?
We have some anecdotal data that we're seeing even younger.
Then 3rd grade.
Younger than 3rd grade.
And that's, what, 8 years old, 9 years old?
One school nurse told me that they had a 1st grader.
Wow.
and I won't disclose the school.
No, of course. But still.
But still, it's so disheartening and so really tragic to see our youngest and most vulnerable populations using these products, because we know the research is still pretty new on vaping, e-cigarette usage. However, we know that for the developing brain, the developing body, that these products are so harmful. And we just, hopefully with these presentations, we're going to be educating our youth and allowing them to see that these choices are not good choices. There's a lot of media around how much better vaping is than smoking for adults. And that message isn't always clear to our youth, that this alternative to smoking for adults is a good thing, but for our youth, it is extremely harmful. It is just as dangerous as smoking cigarettes for our youth. And so trying to get that message across to them and allowing them the autonomy to make those decisions for themselves, and because they have the education behind them, is what our goal is. So hopefully these presentations will accomplish that.
Right. Well, hopefully they will. And you mentioned that you are working with Farmington schools, and I would think that if another school district reached out to the San Juan County Partnership, you would make way to that school district to do similar presentations if they asked you.
Absolutely. I am open to going to any school district in our county. So even all the way out to Newcomb.
Sure.
Absolutely. That is our job. That is what my grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration pays for me to do. So this isn't just like, yes, we want to do this. Like, no, we really want to do this. This is what we're here for. This is what our passion is in prevention, is to help our kiddos really to be the best version of themselves that they can be. And that usually means not using substances, delaying that first use of any of those harmful substances as they grow and develop.
Right. I want to go back to the survey for just a moment and ask you a bit about some of the others. This is obviously given to students in public schools. Does it also include maybe an option for students who are homeschooled or other children who maybe aren't in the public school? Do we know?
I do not know that, Scott, but I will look that up and have that for you the next time that I come in.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's
but
okay.
I was just curious about that, because that would be really interesting to see if it would be possible to get the other data in as well. But I know the majority of kids are in public schools, and so this is really showing us a pretty good snapshot of youth in New Mexico, and then as you break it down, San Juan County.
Absolutely. Yes, most of our students attend public schools. So if they attend in odd number years, which most kids do, right, then and they're in the middle or high schools, they will be offered this survey to take. Got you.
Very good. And you mentioned that your position is grant funded, and so this is really focused on the work that you are doing. You are within the confines of that grant through the San Juan County Partnership.
Correct. So San Juan, we have this Partnerships for Success grant from SAMHSA, that's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, which is a part of the Department of Health at the federal level. So this grant, my purpose behind the grant is to delay first use of alcohol, tobacco, and also vape, and cannabis products. So we do many different things to spread that message, to delay that first use, education, billboards, campaigns. I work with the Boys and Girls Club of Farmington and teach a Media Ready course there in the afternoons to middle school students. We've had that partnership with them for almost 2 years now. We've done multiple cohorts, and I'm teaching one right now, so if I look a little puffy, it's because I worked last night in the Boys and Girls Club.
Gotcha. And here you are early in the morning on a weather day.
In the morning.
So I appreciate that very, very much. And what feedback do you get from those students, from the youth that you're working with when you talk about this? Are they, sometimes I know it's preaching to the choir, but maybe there's some kids that are like, oh, I didn't know that, or I didn't know that these are bad for kids my age, maybe, and not so bad for adults.
Yeah, it's really interesting. As part of my presentation on the vaping, and then also with the Media Ready, we ask questions. With the Media Ready, we do a formal survey before that we start the courses, and then we do one at the end to see if there's some learning, so we can
Right.
evaluate how effective the program is. And during the face-to-face presentations, I ask questions and then give them the answers. And it's really interesting when I ask, is smoking or is vaping healthier than smoking for you? Generally, about 50 to 75% of the students raise their hand, saying, yes, vaping is healthier than smoking, because that's what it is. It's true for adults.
Right.
Not for children. And so then when I tell them, they're all pretty shocked. But then they're also really shocked. We also ask, how many of you think most of kiddos your age use vaping or tobacco products? And again, I get 50 to 75% of the students in the room that raise their hand. And yet, that's not the truth. Specifically for middle school, which we don't have the 2021 data yet, I do have the 2019 data, only 19% of middle school students had used vaping in the last 30 days when this survey was asked in 2019, and only 6% had smoked a cigarette. So when the students see that data, we shift that perception of norm. So in prevention, that's actually a proven technique to lower the risk of using a substance. So the perception of norm is what they think is normal. So asking
Everybody's
that,
doing it.
Everybody's doing it,
Julie. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. But
all
right.
of my friends do it.
That's right.
Even if I don't see them, everybody's doing it. But when we give them the data, and having this data specifically for our county is especially important, because I emphasize that, like, these are kiddos your age that have answered this question in this area right now, and most are not using substances. Most.
Right.
And as we saw in the data earlier, not just most, but
A lot.
a preponderance of
A big
them.
majority of most.
The
yeah.
majority of most. Yeah.
Just most. Yes.
I'm not sure my epidemiologist would like that term.
Right, I'm sure not. Probably not. But yes,
That's why I'm not the epidemiologist.
there you go. But everything, I mean,
But-
all those lines are below, as you said, 50%. In fact, even below 40%, I would say.
Even below
35.
right now, 25%. The e-cigarettes looks like, well, we've got the actual numbers here, 22.5%.
So there you go.
For e-cigarettes. So that's below 25%. So less than a quarter. So not even less than half. Less than a quarter of our students are using these substances. So
And when you tell that to a student, to a young person, do you see a light bulb go off sometimes?
We do.
And do they really start looking around
Absolutely.
going, wow, I thought everybody was doing it and I was missing out.
Absolutely, we see that. And that is the point of sharing that data with them. You can see their faces light up. They're like, oh, really? Like, yes, really. Less than what you think are using. And really, most students your age are not using these substances. So it's really encouraging to see their reaction to that data, because data informs, and to know that those are the students around them
Right.
that are answering these questions, that that perception of what is normal begins to shift, and they no longer think, well, everybody else is doing it, so maybe I should try it.
Right.
So that's where we start to see, hopefully, the trends in the data are showing that.
Right. I want to put you on the spot again and ask you
Okay.
about the 2019 survey for the younger kids. Is it about similar to this older kid level, or are they at a little higher level, a little lower level? Do you remember?
So I don't remember. Well, I know the e-cigarette and tobacco. Tobacco isn't on this one. I just noticed that tobacco is not on this one.
Right.
I just got this data yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
But I know for the 2019 survey for our middle school students, it was only 19%, which is far below what it is for the high school. The high school in 2019 was 31.9
For e-cigarettes or vaping.
for e-cigarettes or vaping.
Okay.
And for middle school, it was only 19%. So,
Gotcha. You would hope it would be lower.
so yeah, we're excited to see,
Right.
and we're really
Right.
hoping that it will be will show similar trends in the middle school.
Right. And just because it's not on this graph doesn't mean that they didn't ask about tobacco, right? It's out there. The data is there. It's just not on this graph.
It's just not on this graph.
It'll be on the next one.
Yes.
You see? Yeah. There you go. But probably this, I would assume the trends and the lines would look fairly similar to what we're already seeing.
I'm assuming so. We've seen some dramatic drops. The national campaigns about how bad smoking is for everyone
Right.
have been very successful. And most kids, as I've been doing these presentations, I ask them, is smoking bad for you? 100% of them say yes.
Good.
So those campaigns
That
are
message is
working.
getting through.
That message has gotten through.
Good.
So hopefully equating vaping to smoking with these presentations for this age group. We're not saying for adults, but for this particular age group, making that correlation of how bad smoking is and how bad vaping is at the same time, comparing very similar attributes of both will get the message through for that
Right.
as well, that vaping e-cigarette use is not good for this age group.
Right. And it seems like that's your message when you talk to these kids. I keep saying children, but kids, young adults, teenagers. Youth, thank you. That, the laws are in place, and then when they reach a certain age, they can make that decision for themselves.
Absolutely. And the laws may seem arbitrary, why 21? A lot of it is data driven. The data shows that the brain is still developing until at least age 21. Generally, it's age 25. So when we start
I've met people
introducing-
whose brains are still developing long past 21, but please continue.
So the physical development
Thank
of the
you.
brain continues until at least age 25.
Right.
We say 21. It's a good point to say, okay, now we think your brain has developed enough of your cognitive ability and upper reasoning functions have developed that can allow you to make some decisions that'll have long-term consequences for you. So 21 is the age for smoking, for purchasing smoking cigarettes, e-cigarettes, vaping devices, cannabis, alcohol, all of those substances that can have a tremendous impact on brain development. So it isn't an arbitrary number, really, because we have the science to back up that that's sort of the age when a lot of people have reached that point in their lives where they can make those informed decisions. Certainly not in third grade.
Right. Or first.
Or first.
Right.
Or first.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Good point. But I think it's important for folks to understand that your presentations and just the message is to say, these are decisions that are best left until you're older and can, your brain has been developed and you now can consider the long-term impacts of the decisions that you're making today. But when you're 10 years old, 12 years old, that's a little bit tougher to think about.
Absolutely. And there's so much pressure at that age to conform, and the perception of norm, what everybody else is doing, is so influential at that age. Seeing this kind of data for these age groups really helps them to know that, the perception that they may have that everybody's doing it really isn't the truth. And so maybe it takes a little bit of that pressure to try these substances, to be part of the groups that try these substances, takes a little bit of that pressure away.
Right. Very true. Well, it's exciting data to share with the community this morning, and we're really excited to see kind of what this year's survey shows once it comes out in a year or so. And I know you'll be back to talk about that. At least I hope you will.
Absolutely.
And keep putting up with me.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Julie, thank you for coming in this morning, and thank you for the work of the San Juan County Partnership. They do a lot of stuff here in the community, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Good to see you. That's Julie Smith, my guest this morning from the San Juan County Partnership, with me on KSJE.
KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week.
Hello, my name is Emin Chi from the Student Achievement Center. We are bringing you week 6 of Coaching Tips of the Week. Learning new information. Students learn new ideas by relating them to what they already know and then transferring them into their long-term memory. Meaningful practice with content can both cement student learning and making it easier for students to remember content in the future, enabling them to tackle increasingly complex challenges. The more knowledge that students have about a specific problem, the easier it will be for them to recognize the important aspects of the problem and how to solve it.
The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College. KSJE is supported by the University of Denver Graduate School of Social Work Four Corners program in Durango, accepting applications for the Advanced Standing MSW program beginning July 2023. Students with a bachelor's degree in social work are eligible for the one-year program. Stipends in child welfare, opioid workforce expansion, and Native American tuition support to eligible students are available. Find out more at du.edu/socialwork.